Moving on. The Jags did some work this week. Really quick fun fact. Do you know Urban Meyer is in the top 5 for winningest coach for the Jaguars with 2 wins? Fun fact. Anyways, moving on. The Jags hired Doug Pederson this week. I watched the press conference. It was comedic because they didn't ask Doug barely a question. They kept asking Sean Codd questions, and it was hilarious because it was supposed to be about Doug, and it wasn't. It was more so questioning Codd, what is his name? Sean Codd's just decision-making ability. Is he going to be involved? Because they were basically insulting him without saying it, and it was absolute gold. It was fun to see him get roasted a little bit. But you have some takes on it, so I'll pass it back over to you. What's your take on all Dougie Doug?
So, look, I mean, the name recognition's there. I don't think he's a bad coach. He is a little bit of a quarterback whisperer from what I've read, and that we definitely could use that.
Heard that.
Yep.
So
I
O.T.
definitely
Lawrence.
like that. Yep, with our roster. But that being said, if you just watch the whole process of bringing Pederson on, it still kind of has this air of a desperate, kind of a panic-driven decision. After it looked like a couple of candidates that we had vetted weren't interested in us. Obviously, we flirted with Byron Leftwich, and that sounded like it had some traction. And then all of a sudden, he removed himself from consideration. And then just all the talk about Trent Baalke, the GM being gone, and things like that. It just felt like all of a sudden, Pederson went from being a name in a candidate pool to
that's all we got.
We lose out on a couple of guys from our side of the candidates, and Pederson's our man. Like, we almost had him in our back pocket, hoping for something else, but he was our fallback guy. It's just kind of how it felt. Could be wrong, but look.
So that's what they asked, and they said, "Hey, was Doug always your guy?" They asked Con this, or
whoever says no to that, they asked that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they have to, right? They have to ask these hard questions to make you read the reaction. It's not the answer. You read the body language, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't really give it he didn't even say yes. It was a long yes. It was weird. But he said that Doug was the guy last year, and they even called him out. They go, "Hey, you said this last year. You said that Urban was our guy." So what's different from this year to last year? He goes, "I was a year early, but this is our guy." That was kind of funny. But he said Doug was their guy last year, but obviously Doug stayed out. He was retired. And I believe that. I don't think it was a rush hire. I truly think that it's a good pick. We talked about Byron Leftwich and who we should go with. I wasn't sold on Doug. I said this. That doesn't even mean I didn't want Doug. I just was hoping, look, Josh McDaniels would have been freaking awesome. I would have loved that.
A bit more of a splash hire, and that's what we were saying with Pederson. Is look, he has that Super Bowl, but he also kind of ran himself out of town with a little bit of the locker room stuff. It felt, but yeah, look, he's got some success. I'm not saying that, but it just didn't feel like it was the splash hire that I think we were all excited.
Here's why I like it. It's a very young team, and that's why I wasn't a fan of Byron Leftwich being his first year as a head coach. We went down that path with Urban. It didn't work out. That we need somebody. He has a Super Bowl as a player and now as a coach, right? So he's going to be able to bring in that, which is huge to me for Trevor to be able to follow along with. And it's a young team that's going to be able to follow the guy who has won. He's proven to be a winner. Urban did that, but it was only in the college era, right? So there's going to be a lot more knowledge we've had in a while. I feel like some head coach experience, which is good. I'm excited. I've been super optimistic with the Gators. I'm super optimistic with the Jaguars. I really am. I think Trevor's going to come in hungrier than ever. I think they're going to be ready to win. Etienne comes back, or Etienne, the hell ever his last name is. They need to go out and get some wide receivers. That's going to be the big key. So what they do in offseason and how much of a play that Doug has on that. There was some talk that Godwin might be coming to Jacksonville. That would be massive if they could pull that sign off to sign him. So I like it. I wasn't a huge fan of it at the beginning, but with options that are available, again, Josh McDaniels would have been my first pick only because of where he's coming from. Now, to be fair, he was a head coach, didn't have much success. Doug has at least had success. And it wasn't like he had this crazy it was a great team. Don't get it wrong, but it wasn't like he had a Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. He did with a young quarterback with Carson Wentz and then Nick Foles. Yeah, Foles, not Folk. But and Foles wasn't the man. He got paid because of that season and hasn't really done anything since. So again, I like it. I think the Jags have a good season this year. I really do.
I'll stick with you on the optimism part. It's just cautious optimism because I have watched us just
I know.
look like buffoons for so long.
I know.
Yeah. I did see that we're going to make an executive vice president position. We're going to go back to the position that Tom Coughlin held for a while, for a
Sure.
few
Good.
years, which was our last play role or playoff appearance. So they're going to kind of remodel some things on the front end and put a little bit more, I guess, executive front office help on the front end of things with Ballke. So that could change things up a little bit as well.
Yeah, I think Joe says Jags got lucky that a Super Bowl winning coach was available and accepted the job despite Bielek being there. And again, I think that's what's huge, right? It's having somebody with winning experience is massive, and I like it. It's a healthy move. Urban was that fun splash move, didn't work out. I think Byron Leftwich would have been another splash move that would have made me very nervous and uncomfortable again. This to me feels like a healthy move. It feels like a 7-9 or was it 17 games now? A possibly 10-7 record. Like I truly believe that. I know they only had 2 wins this last year. I feel like it was like the Nebraska type of situation where it was towards the end there, they were really good losses. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes total sense. FSU was a good suck last year. Florida was a bad suck. We've kind of talked about this throughout our podcast. To me, towards the end, the Lions were a really good loss last year. They were a really good suck last year. It's just a weird way to talk about it, but I loved seeing how well they did, even though they lost a lot. But they lost not a lot of close ones. There was a few close games in there that would have made them a 6-win team. So. Yep. I think the division isn't that tough. I really don't think the Colts will be, depending on where Aaron goes, I don't think the Colts will be kind of overly overwhelming. Texans suck, right? The Titans, I think, are going to kind of have hit their peak. I think they're starting to kind of slope back down. I think Tannehill's kind of outstayed his stay there. So, look, it's open. It's kind of at a time where the Jags got to make some moves. I think the draft's going to be huge, like we've talked about. I hope they trade their draft pick and make some more moves out of that. Again, good stuff.
Yep, absolutely. Definitely some roster spots to fill. So let's get rid of that first pick and not cash it all in on somebody who I don't think there is a true first pick in the draft this year. So I think that's the right way to go.
I think there is for whatever team that needs that pick, right? And I don't think the Jags are that team.